Welcome back. If you are new to this channel, my name is Tim, and I am a retired educator living in Chattanooga, just talking about stuff. Today, I want to talk about gift giving, and specifically rethinking gift giving as it applies to specifically Christmas, as we're coming into that season, but also it could apply to any time of year that you feel obligated or feel inclined to offer a gift to another human being. And I'd like you to stick around to the end because I have two gifts that I would like to give to you for being part of this community, and we'll talk about those at the end of this video. I think that I think I'm pretty normal when it comes to Christmas. My history of Christmas, I think, is pretty normal. There are extremes on either end of my experience, I'm sure, but I think I fall pretty fairly in the middle. I was going through some old VHS tapes that I've been transferring over to digital, and I ran across one that I had watched before, but really hadn't paid that close of attention to, I suppose. And it's my mom narrating over some pictures from the Childers family album. And when it came to me, there was this picture. It's an old black and white picture. We're sitting in the living room, and there's this tree behind me. It's Christmas time. There's a Christmas tree behind me. You know, they did live Christmas trees back in the day. And so there is this tree behind me, and I have a present. My mom is in the picture with me. We're sitting on the floor. And my mom is talking about the fact that that is the only present that I got that year. One. But she adds some context to that because she says we didn't have any furniture in the living room. I don't remember that Christmas, but I'm sure that my mom will never forget it. Later on, when I was in the 11th grade and we had moved to Arkansas and my parents had quit their jobs and they were living for the next 2 years, we would live off of their life savings as we built a house out of those savings, started a new business. And for Christmas that year, we were renting a little house while we were building ours, and I got one pair of blue jeans. That was my Christmas. One pair of blue jeans. Now, you know, my mom and dad were not going to go into debt for Christmas, especially when they were already without an income. So that's one end of the spectrum. But I also remember, and I have pictures and I have old, silent 8mm video of Christmases when the presents were just stacked under the tree and we're throwing paper everywhere and, we're seeing what it is, throwing it aside for the next thing. I've had all that spectrum of Christmas in my life. And I think there's a lot of reasons why we do what we do at Christmas. And some of them are very good reasons, and some of them may be less than good reasons. And some of them help us to stay balanced and focused, and others may cause us to get off kilter just a bit. I want to talk about some of those for a few minutes. One reason I think that we maybe go overboard or buy more than we should, or, and I'm not even talking about debt here. I'm just talking about the number of things a person needs in their life that they get at Christmas is just the act of generosity. Most of us are truly generous people. And if we have a little something, we want to be able to give something. And I think that is a very altruistic kind of motivation. We just want to be generous. And some of it is social expectations. We are expected to give gifts at Christmas. And with some people, they are expecting a number of gifts from us at Christmas. And so there is this social expectation to give gifts not at the status where I live. No. At the status just above where I live. So if I'm purely middle class, I'm going to give gifts that the upper middle class might give, just a little above my pay grade, because there is this social expectation, and I want people to see me as something a little different than I really am. And especially if I'm going into debt. Christmas is one of those times when, at least half the country is going into some type of debt at Christmas. And the average debt that has been accumulated at Christmas has increased in the last few years from $1,200 per household to $1,500 per household. So generosity and social expectations. I think also there is a bit of peer pressure involved sometimes, that especially if you're talking about coworkers or maybe extended family members that you don't see on a regular basis, they give you a gift and you feel obligated then to return the favor with a gift of some similar sense of value, or maybe just a little more value because you want to get the upper hand. So, if somebody gives you a coffee mug, you give them a coffee mug and a pound of coffee to go with it. Not a big deal, but just enough for them to know you outgave them. There's a little peer pressure involved. And sometimes it's just the festive spirit of Christmas. We're decorating everything. We're putting candy canes out. Everything's red and green now. There's Santa Claus everywhere. Rudolph's made an appearance. We've got stockings hanging over the fireplace. We've got this big tree in the living room with all the ornaments. Everywhere we go in stores, Mariah Carey is singing. And, it's just one of those things where the marketing is getting us in this spirit to buy stuff. And so we do. We buy stuff. A lot of stuff. $1,500 average debt stuff. So the festive spirit, I think, has a little bit of something to do with why we give the things we give. And of course, tradition plays a big part in it. What you have done in your childhood growing up for Christmas impacts what you do as an adult for Christmas. And if you grew up in a household where Christmas was always sparse and not much was given, then you are more likely going to start a tradition with your family where Christmas is a little more involved, with more gifts for your kids and bigger gifts and more expensive things for your spouse. And you're trying to create a tradition that either mimics or opposes what you grew up with. For me, our tradition was, growing up, we would gather as a family on Christmas Eve, whether we were alone in our home or if we were visiting my grandparents and there was the extended family there. We would gather on Christmas Eve and everybody would get to choose one present under the tree to open on Christmas Eve. And there would be a smattering of Christmas presents around the tree. Mom and Dad had a couple of presents for me under there. My grandparents had a present for me under there. My aunt or uncle may have had a present for me under there. There were a few presents there. But then after we went to bed, Christmas morning, there would be this mountain of gifts because Santa Claus had come. And Santa Claus didn't even have to wrap all of his gifts. He just put them under the tree with a bow. So, it was one of those things where that was sort of the tradition growing up. And we tried to do something like that in my family. And the key component of that is not only to buy some presents from Mom and Dad, but to make sure there are more presents from Santa Claus. If you still believe in Santa Claus, maybe I've already said too much. I think sometimes we probably overcompensate at Christmas in order to get some type of recognition we're lacking through the rest of the year. Maybe as a parent, our kids are not as involved in our life as we would like throughout the year. That's not a slam on my kids, by the way. We overcompensate to give luxury presents, expensive presents, more presents in order to get some type of recognition back from them that we've been missing throughout the year. That may not be a good reason to give those kinds of gifts. And I could go on. There are a number of things we could talk about, but I think probably there are two things you could do this year that might help you along the way. One is to sit down and seriously think about, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I buying 5 presents for this person when 2 would be more than enough? Or even 1? Why am I going into debt in order to get some type of emotional thrill for 30 minutes on Christmas morning when, after watching those kids, the grandkids or your own kids, open those presents and look at them and smile and maybe even have the thoughtfulness to come over and tell you thank you. 3 weeks later, they've lost 4 pieces out of the play set you bought, or it's in the bottom of the closet and it's never been opened yet. And why are we doing that? Think about, why am I doing what I'm doing? And then I think a case in point from my own life might be a good indication of something that you might want to think about doing for your life. With my oldest daughter, I decided, because I was really getting into the Christmas village pieces, the church with the light inside, or the storefront, or the house up on the hill, and the people that were, riding sleighs and crossing bridges and the little tiny trees and those kinds of things. I decided that I would give her and her husband a Christmas village piece every year, because I thought, 15, 20 years from now, she will have this massive decoration piece for her living room that her kids and the soon-to-be grandkids will just thoroughly enjoy, and they'll love it. And I did that maybe, 4 or 5 years, my daughter could remind me, until she finally came to me and she said, "Dad, I really appreciate this. I do, but please don't do this anymore." Now, that was a hard conversation for her to have. I know it was, because she was afraid it was really going to hurt me. And it did, just a tiny bit, but, not much, because I came to realize I was giving her something that I wanted rather than giving her something that she wanted, or maybe even needed. The first thing that you can do this year is to sit down and ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? And the second thing that you can do is sit down and ask the most important people in your life, what do you think about what I'm doing? Is what I'm doing okay? I mean, are the presents that I'm giving you through the years, are they appreciated? Is it too much? Is it not enough? That's a hard conversation to have. But if you're giving somebody, 5, 6, 7, 8 presents at Christmas, when 2 presents is plenty, not only will you save yourself the grief of having to either order from Amazon or go out and face the crowds and all the wrapping that goes with it, unless you're having it wrapped at the store, and the extra debt that you will go into, but you will save the receiver of the gift a lot of angst of every year thinking, thank you. Now, what am I going to do with this? So just a couple of things to think about. I'm not trying to tell you stop buying Christmas gifts. I'm not going that route. I'm not going to tell you don't spend any money for Christmas this year. Be totally minimalist, be essentialist, that's not it. And you do what you want to do at Christmas, but understand why you're doing it. And if you think maybe there is just a hint of something that is not a positive reason, figure out a way to change that in order to make the Christmas or the birthday or the anniversary, the gift giving and gift receiving experience, a better one for all involved. And that leads me to the 2 things that I have to offer you today, and they are totally free. I will tell you that to get them, you will have to put your email address into a website. It's my website. I'm not doing anything with that email address. I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to bombard you with messages. It is a requirement to get the gift that I'm giving you. I don't have any other way to go about that. One is, in my photography studio, a lot of people have commented on a picture that I took at St. Peter's Basilica of a statue staring off into the distance. I'll put it up here so you can be reminded what that looks like. And I have it for sale over on my Fine Art America site. If you want to buy it already printed in a particular size or whatever, it's there. But I am offering you the digital download of that image, full resolution, free of charge, no strings attached. Print it if you want it. Put it as a screensaver on your computer if you want it. Print it wallet size, print it 4 feet by 5 feet. It will print all of those things just fine. The only thing that I ask is don't sell it. That's the only thing I ask. It's my gift to you. Don't sell it. The second one is, I've been talking about writing a book, and I'm just going to tell you that writing is hard. writing is hard enough when it's not even good writing. And I'm trying to do something that's good writing, which makes it really, really hard. And so I have a ways to go, and I have not done any, professional editing yet to get the book published. Obviously, I'm not finished with it. But I do have, as a gift to you, the first 15 pages. So that will include the introduction, the prologue, and a very short first chapter, so that you can get a feel for sort of where my mind is at, what I'm thinking about, and maybe a little hint of what the book will be about. And again, that is yours free. It's a PDF file. You can read it on your computer. You can read it on your phone. You can print it out and read it if you want to. And all you have to do is put in your email address, download it. It's not a pay what you want thing. It is zero. Both of these things are zero. Eventually, maybe when I get to 70, 80, 100,000 subscribers, I'm at 42. I have not made it to 43 yet. But when I get, way up there, if I ever do, I may choose to use the Ko-fi account to start a newsletter or some type of, subscription service to get extra content. It's something in the back of my mind. It's not happening now. If I ever decide to do a newsletter, I will send out one email to everybody that has provided me their email and give you the option to unsubscribe before your email box starts filling up. I'm not trying to market you here. I'm really not. I just want to give you something I hope is of value. And so I'm doing this here, and I will also do it on my photography channel. That's why I'm doing one piece of writing and one photograph. If you decide to download the book section, I would ask maybe that you come back to this video and leave me a comment. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? Positive and negative reviews are welcome. Ugly, hate-filled, profanity-laced reviews are not. So anyway, they're there. As we head into December, I wish you and yours all the best in the world, and we will talk to you again soon.